Welcome, age of vintage society. Patty Duke had early fame as a child actress, and expectedly, teenage emotion led to complications that include but are not limited to excessive expenses and sexual carelessness. With a successful transition into an adult acting career, she soon found herself caught up in a web of scandals, depression. Her mental illness is a secret side that tormented this award-winning actress that no one knew until diagnosed. How Patty Duke's son had 3 fathers. I want you to know, my viewers, how much I appreciate your generous support on Patreon and your activity on the channel. These videos would not have been possible without you. Big thanks to those who watched the video until the end. Too much pleasure, they say, leads to rascality. Patty Duke's issue looked more like that of a prodigal child who got almost everything at a time she needed very little. As a young teenage beauty in a wild Hollywood scene, it is only natural that things would happen to shape her life. Patty dealt with issues that are now as famous as her excellent career achievement. Very prominent was her undiscovered paranoid delusions, in an age that lacked much understanding about the nature of the disorder. Even when facts suggest the opposite, Patty still wants fans to believe her side of the story concerning the 25-year uncertainty shrouding the real father of her son. It was such an unmatched scandal like we see in the movies, but this time it was a reality that left a man with 3 famous fathers and a mother until DNA test said otherwise. Amidst the scandal, Patty was so sure about the father of her son that she went ahead to marry him and told the world that the issue was settled as the duo commenced further procreation in a happy family. But something always led to another as the controversy of her son's biological father continued. Patty, no doubt, was a natural actor and a remarkable screen star of an era. Her very popular screen and television outings were extraordinarily outstanding, as she took home an Oscar after her Broadway role in the Helen Keller life story, The Miracle Worker, entered Hollywood. Her innate talent was noticeable as early as 12 when her name made that Broadway title role. 4 years later it made her the youngest Oscar winner at the time for Best Supporting Actress in 1962. While her name was still trending, Patty began a highly successful series, The Patty Duke Show, where she appeared as identical twins. The show was an American sitcom aired on ABC between 1963 and 66, with episodes that were either written by Sidney Sheldon or William Asher, the show's initiators. It became a major platform under which Patty gained more fame. At 18, Patty announced her adult career, playing a woman caught up in Hollywood drug philosophy as seen in Valley of the Dolls. But very interesting is that while she was entertaining her fans, Patty was simultaneously battling an inner demon that is today seen as bipolar disorder. Very gorgeous, with a flawless figure and a fine face, Patty's physique appeared very perfect on screen, though not as beautiful as a classic screen siren image. She held her pride so high in the industry with her talent. Patty's name was always in the public domain for different reasons, initially attracting public sympathy and love for her youthfulness amidst Hollywood fame, then followed by scandals occasioned by her love life and other things that ensued. Career-wise, she would overly be remembered as the Miracle Worker and other roles like that of the Valley of the Dolls. Patty Duke's romantic affairs with men left more questions than answers, with suspicion, suspense, betrayal and scandals that kept the gossip media busy with the news of the latest development as her issues unfolded. This singing sensation lived an interesting lifestyle full of wit and intrigue, but more interesting is the fact that she overcame all her adversaries and became a pioneer voice for bipolar disorder awareness. That was not all, because she found time to pen down her life journey in her memoirs. Quite an amazing lady, I must say, despite her age-long struggle with mood swings, alcoholism and prescription abuse that made her impulsive behaviour questionable. Did she say the psychiatric drug lithium turned her life around? We saw Patty undergo therapy after being confirmed with manic depressive illness, but before then her undiagnosed condition may have inflicted mayhem on her love life. A lot of us still believe that Patty never experienced happiness in her marital life until she married her fourth husband, for an obvious reason, her longest marriage that endured for about 30 years until her demise. Born Anna Marie Duke in 1946 to distressed parents, Frances Margaret, a cashier, and John Patrick Duke, a taxi driver. Her father was a heavy drinker who deserted his family when Patty was 6. Her mother Frances grieved and lived in depression. Patty was brought into acting just like her brother Raymond when his managers, Ethel Ross and John, saw her. Then she was 7, living in the Elmhurst neighbourhood of Queens, where she grew up with her siblings. Patty's journey into acting was initially manipulated and exploited by those who brought her in as the duo, apart from consistently reducing her age by 2 and embellishing her resume with false recognitions. She was unnaturally exposed to alcohol and prescription pills. They made enough financial gain by retaining very unreasonably high fees from her income, plus the sexual advances that she had to innocently deal with. They also changed her name to Patty. Sheldon was said to have observed that Patty often had unpredictable mood swings that almost gave her dual personalities, so was inspired to do something similar with her in movies, leading to the concept of 2 identical cousins. The show flawlessly depicted the teenage experience of the era. By the time the Patty Duke show was over, Patty was already an adult. Critics say she took a bold step to break away from the Rosses' stringent control and subsequently publicise her new star status with marriage. It was within this period that Patty was cast in Valley of the Dolls, which made a huge box office success. Patty Duke got married 4 times, though she was said to have nursed the idea of becoming a nun as a little girl, having come from a Catholic background. Her first marriage to a man who was 13 years older was the beginning of her private misfortune. Then she was about 18, although the two had been in a secret relationship for some time. His name is Harry Falk, a movie director. That marriage exposed Patty to a more dangerous drinking lifestyle, as if she had inherited it from her father. There were also recurrent mood swings that appeared much more like an outcome of overdosed pills, and a rumour suggested that the actress decided to marry out of extreme anxiety because she wanted to free herself from the shackles of her obnoxious surrogate living under John and Ethel Ross. The union, however, became very stormy that the couple had no other choice than to divorce as soon as they could. At this time it seemed that her fame climaxed as she became a superstar on and off the screen, with several men wishing to have her. That was how she got entangled in a simultaneous tripartite affair with 3 men during the early part of 1970. The men were 17-year-old Here's Lucy sensation Desi Arnaz Jr., 16 years older John Astin, and promoter Michael Tell. Patty and Arnaz's affair became a media sensation, not just because she was about 6 years older than him, but the very outspoken opposition from Arnaz's mother in an open rejection of the relationship. The famous comedienne Lucille Ball happens to be Arnaz's mother. She was not happy that her 17-year-old son was involved with an older divorcee who was exhibiting gradually erratic behaviour in public. It was not a funny issue for the star. The noise later died down when the two ended that relationship. By June of that year, Patty discovered that she was carrying a baby. The pregnancy made her marry Michael Tell that same month. This, according to reports, was so her child would have a name. That marriage broke a record from behind by lasting just a week, and 6 days before it was dissolved in an annulment. Patty gave birth to a son, Sean Astin, in 1971, and the following year she got married to John Astin. Afterward, the duo adopted Sean and 3 sons from Austin's initial marriage. They went ahead to beget another son, Mackenzie Astin. The marriage made a perfect partnership, as she even added his name to her professional signature, Patty Duke Astin. The marriage, however, went sour and the couple was divorced. It was also within this period that she was severely depressed, diagnosed and treated. After she got her stability to normal, it was already too late to save her troubled 13 years of marriage with Astin. Then gossip and confusion filled the air about the true father of Sean, maybe because of the rumours that trailed her life. Even as she was secretly battling with her manic illness, she thought it wise to clarify the issues. So she released a memoir detailing facts about her marriage and suggesting that her marriage with Tell was never consummated, but she did not tell us if she had a related activity with him before she discovered that she was pregnant. Though she gave some hints about the event that preceded the pregnancy, because she said that she had always thought that Arnaz Jr. was the real father of her son, meaning that he was not, and so who was responsible? Patty stated that Astin was the man behind the baby, the biological father of Sean. Perhaps out of curiosity and to also clear the air on that issue, the young lad in 1994 decided to embark on a self-discovery journey to ascertain his true lineage. After going through biological testing, results show that Tell is actually the father of Sean Astin. Amidst the scandal caused by the fresh development, the three sons Patty initially adopted when she was married to their father Astin had their adoption reversed. Though feeling very overwhelmed by circumstances, Patty still did not give up. She was hoping to have another try, but this time she got it right as she married Drill Sergeant Michael Pierce. There were also rumours that Patty may have caused the break-up of Pierce's marriage while she was frolicking with him before they were finally married. Responding to that, Patty denied that report, saying that, if the marriage had been good, no woman could take him away from his wife. She met Pierce while he was doing A Time to Triumph, for which Pierce was an advisor. He was supposed to train Patty about martial life, so she would perfectly carry out her role as a female army aviator. The two deviated from the assignment into romantic life after the officer was smitten by Patty's beauty and loveliness. Not too long after they started seeing each other that Pierce asked his wife of 11 years for a divorce, which he did so he can marry Patty. The duo soon relocated to Hayden, Idaho, where they adopted a son, Kevin. As was customary to Patty, she often used Anna Duke Pierce in her professional work. The two stayed until death separated them. But before this time, rumours of Desi Jr. being Sean's father had brought him and Sean together before the truth was revealed. So Sean was left with three men he at some point thought were his real father, even as he became close to his mother's last husband. When asked, Sean told fans that he is on good terms with all of them and can talk to any of them at any time he deems fit. Though he maintained that he still considers Astin as his father, but has created a close bond with Arnaz and Tell. After Patty informed him about Arnaz following the gossip, he found time to be closer to him. But when he met a family member of Tell who thought they were connected family-wise, his curiosity led him to the DNA involving all three men. Patty's life was eccentric most times, but she kept going and occasionally suffered one health shock or another, like that of 2005 when Patty went through a dangerous secret bypass procedure to remove an artery in her heart. She blamed it on a 40-year habit of smoking, which she said she stopped after being told, and added that the experience is the most difficult thing I have ever done. She also became very unconventional in character, officiating homosexual marriage, and was quoted to have said she wants to unite all the homosexual couples in the country. After she was identified as a bipolar patient and recovering, Patty swings into action by devoting much of her time to public awareness and education on mental health-related issues. She later wrote a compendium of her experiences in her 1988 New York Times best-selling book, which she called Call Me Anna, the autobiography of Patty Duke, at a time when very few talked about mental illness. She became such a phenomenon, even as she produced a second autobiography, A Brilliant Madness, Living with Manic Depressive Illness, all detailing her travails that no one knew about all through those years. Did you also hear about her quiz scandal? Patty was so famous and became a household brand after winning a quiz through a scandalously kept secret. A huge quiz show, now known as Scandals of the 1950s, vibrated the entertainment industry at the time. The issue was that as a 12-year-old girl she won thousands of dollars on the $64,000 question game show, but the fact was that the answers were given to her by producers, just like previous winners, which she later acknowledged several years later as she was mandated to give evidence before Congress. After Patty Duke's demise in 2016 of sepsis from a cracked intestine at the age of 69, Sean asked the public to donate to a mental health foundation in his mother's name. He also told the public that the true story of Patty's life is not about her successes in the industry or her advocacy project, but her outstanding relationship with her fourth husband Mike, and noted that in him she finally in her life had a protector. And Sean is no longer making headlines with his paternal lineage because his success in the movie industry has taken over the paternity scandals. Patty Duke is a perfect example of how mental health was in its early years. But why was Jane Fonda incapable of emotional intimacy? Let's find out.